Guys, I'm thrilled to welcome to the podcast Dr. Ashley Lucas. She's the founder of PhD Weightloss, and you've heard me talk about PhD Weightloss on the podcast. She holds a PhD in sports nutrition and chronic disease. She's also a registered dietitian, and she's a nationally renowned speaker and columnist who has now started a new podcast. It's called the Dr. Ashley Show podcast, the website drashleyshow.com. And of course, PhD Weightloss is myphdweightloss.com. Ashley, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me. Debbie and I got to say, are really thrilled with PhD Weightloss. We had gained a rather embarrassing amount of weight under COVID. It kind of crept up on us. In fact, since we look at each other every day, we didn't really fully notice the extent of the damage. And then when PhD came along, we were like, we got to do it. And between February and now, I've lost 25 or so pounds. Debbie, how much, honey? About 23 or 24 pounds. So we've both finally reached this place that you call maintenance. So I thought I'd start by asking you about these two phases of the program. The first one being losing weight, and the second one, which I think perhaps just as important, holding on to the weight that you, or staying with the weight that you've now achieved.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think maintenance is the most important part. It's where the work comes into play. Of course, we're helping and guiding you, but the first phase is to drop the weight. And so how we help folks do that, just like we did with you and Debbie, is we create a customized meal plan guiding you on exactly what, when, and how much to eat. So we take all the guesswork out of it. And we can help folks no matter what their schedule is. Like you all travel a lot, you're very busy, and a lot of people are like that. And so having a specific meal plan that gives you those guidelines where you know what to do, you know how to dine out or take out, and then throughout that phase, having your weekly one-on-one coaching like you guys did with your coach, Rachel. And that's a huge component of success because it holds you accountable, but you also get to ask questions as you're going through. So you're learning exactly what you're doing and why you're eating that specific way. So we taught you guys a lot about nutrition, but unconventional, right? Not the normal stuff you've been taught, understanding that it's much more complicated than calories in and calories out and just eating everything in moderation. And so that's what we focus on during the weight loss phase. The maintenance phase, once we get your body where it needs to be and you've dropped all that belly fat, which we can talk about in a little bit if you want to, but maintenance is free for us. It's forever. We never abandon our clients because like we just said, it's where the work is to be done. That's where you need the support and the accountability. So our maintenance clients do great in keeping the weight off, and they have unlimited support from us through texting or calls, whatever they really need.
I remembered one of the early calls with Rachel, the nutritionist, that you mentioned. I was like, well, you've put out a lot of good ideas, and do I need to follow these like to the letter? And she's like, yes, you do. You need to take this like a doctor's prescription and just do what we say. And I think that's really what Debbie and I did. We just sort of, we said to ourselves, we're kind of in the canoe. We're now going to follow the rules. And we just saw the results very dramatic. Now, many Americans have been sort of at this weight loss thing for years, if not decades. And there's this kind of weary sense, I've tried this, I've tried that, it doesn't seem to work. I lose weight, I then gain it back. What would you say is the number one reason why so many people are frustrated in their, it's not they don't attempt to do it. They want to lose weight. It just doesn't work for them. Why is that?
There's two reasons. One is that the method is just antiquated. It's all based on restricting calories and moving more, which is unsustainable, and the body is more complicated. That's why we really create a metabolic shift. That's what we did for you. We focused on some foods and we let go of some others for the time being, like your bananas that you love so much. But we did that because there are certain foods that drive specific hormones. And some of these hormones encourage hunger and cravings and inflammation and joint pain. And a lot of people eat these foods when they want to drop weight, and it's not conducive to the process. And so that's why it does take an outside perspective based on science to figure out what are those foods that might be termed healthy that we think are healthy, but really aren't, like the bananas, for example, for you. They just didn't work. And when we were reducing those or letting those go, you were seeing, 3 pounds of weight gone each week. And so it's just little things like that. So it really does come down to what you're eating and when, and really basing this off of science, not conventional wisdom. And then the second reason why people often drop weight only to put it back on is because they don't fully collapse the belly fat. So this belly fat, which we call visceral fat, is actually really active. We know these fat cells secrete hormones that make you hungry, that make you crave, that slow your metabolism and make you lazy. Like you actually are getting fat because you have this belly fat in there. And a lot of people just pick some kind of ambiguous number that they want to drop. Like they say, it'd be really great if I could drop 20 pounds, when really they have 50 pounds of belly fat in there that they need to get rid of. And if you think of this belly fat almost like a tumor, it acts the same way. It secretes hormones and it has one objective, and that objective is to get as fat as possible, as fastest as possible. Then it's like fighting against this tumor. And people will only drop a portion of the excess fat weight, and that's like shaving the top off of a weed and leaving the root. You know what's going to happen to a weed if the root is in there. It's going to grow back. And so a lot of people, if they only drop a portion of this excess fat weight, it comes back on. They're like at a 97% risk of gaining the weight, no matter what they've done and attempted to drop it in the first place.
Let's take a pause. When we come back, more with Dr. Ashley Lucas, founder of PhD Weightloss. It's my